Hi everyone, I wanted to take a minute to thank you for your great work you've been doing so far this term, but in particular with your rough drafts. I was really pleased with what I saw. Yes, everyone has room to grow, but that's the purpose of a draft, right? And so what I saw as a whole, you all are moving in the right direction. You did a really nice job following the prompts. You're getting in the key elements of the essay. So do be sure to take a look at the feedback. Remember that I left you marginal comments in the paper itself. I filled out the rubric. Each of those rubric elements has specific comments in it, and then I gave you a summary comment with some overall notes and things to work on for the final draft. So make sure that you're viewing the feedback, but at the same time, I want you to know that you've done a great job and that I really enjoyed reading your essays, and I'm fully confident that I'm going to see some outstanding final drafts in a couple of weeks. So thank you for that. I do want to make you aware of one thing though, just for clarity and to not be confusing. The rough draft and the final draft are graded on similar criteria, but the weight of the different categories is different. So here is part of your rubric for the rough draft, and you'll notice if something was totally not evident or inappropriate, it was a 0%. If it needed improvement, 75%, and proficient, 100%. Remember that if you score in this proficient, or I think they might have even labeled it exemplary category on your rough draft, that means that's the level it was for a draft, not the level it was for a final essay. So even if you scored at 100% on any of these categories for the rough draft, there's still areas that you can likely improve for the final draft, and so I tried to put those notes in the rubric, and so make sure that you're looking at those. Just because you scored an A on the first draft doesn't mean you'll necessarily score an A on the rough draft, on the final draft, because the rough draft is graded more easily. And then here I'm going to flip over to the rubric that we'll be using for the final draft, and you'll see that exemplary is 100%. Proficient for most categories is 85%, and then needs improvement is 55%. So if you scored, a lot of needs improvement and you don't make any changes, then you'll likely still be in the needs improvement category, and then instead of a 75%, you're looking at down at 55%. And so that's because the final draft has higher expectations, and therefore the percentages are weighted a little bit differently. The draft, the purpose is to get those ideas out there and to get a good start on your writing and to do your best work for being in week 5 of the course. But the final draft is to be your best work, to show what you've learned throughout the entire course, and it should truly be the best work with multiple revisions. You've given it all that you have, and that's why it's graded a little bit differently. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Just because you made an A doesn't mean you'll make another A. If you made a C and you thought, hey, that's good enough for me, I'm just not going to touch it, and you score in the needs improvement category again, it's going to be in the 55% range rather than 75%. So I don't mean to confuse you with a lot of percentages and different things, but do just take a look at the rubric before you submit, and then most importantly though, take a look at that feedback that I gave you so that you can improve, and hopefully we'll see lots of exemplary scores in the final draft. So again, thank you for the great work you did on the drafts. I'm enjoying seeing things, learning new things from all of you. You have such interesting topics that you're presenting, and you have a lot of experience and knowledge, and so it's been a lot of fun to learn from you, and I look forward to these last couple of weeks of class.